Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters. We're getting ready for our next match, which is Amnesiac versus Eddie. Eddie, of course, tied for first place with Frozen in Division A. It's actually the first week, I believe, that he's not the unanimous first place decider, or sorry, first place spot in the playoffs race, but effectively is if he's able to get the win here. Amnesiac, in the meantime, having a mediocre performance given his standards. I don't think going 4-6 against GMs is necessarily an indicative that you are a poor player whatsoever. But Amnesiac, we've been saying it all season long. He's been focusing on real life obligations for a while, and yet still able to hang. It just shows his talent and his capability when it comes to Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's right. And this is a interesting matchup for me. The Bomb Warrior Mirror matchups, we can sometimes get a little bit in the weeds when talking about them. But Control Warrior for Eddie, pure Control Warrior, no bomb cards whatsoever. The luxury that you have is that you can fit in some extra tech cards, some extra removal. You can do things like double Brawl, double Omega Devastator, double Acolyte of Pain, double Weapons Project, and still be able to hold on to all that good late game with Archivist Elysiana in the deck.
Yeah, I do wonder how the Mechathune and dynamic ends up kicking in here, because Mechathune Warrior did make a pretty decent splash at specifically rank 1. I actually did some data filtering over the past few weeks, TJ, and Mechathune Warrior had the highest win rate by a tier. It was like a 60% win rate at rank 1 across the regions.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because everyone was so desperate to get to Legend that they played it safe by playing Warrior, because Warrior's a safe pick, and then the Mechathune Warrior is like one step above that, where you can be defensive and play it. However, I feel like it was taking advantage of the element of surprise. If people knew that you were playing Mechathune Warrior, then maybe they stack their aggression and then obviously go for like a different game plan altogether.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure how that dynamic works in, and we'll see if Amnesiac can adapt a game plan accordingly, because his secondary and tertiary deck doesn't scream to me that he's thinking about Mechathune Warrior. Because yes, Spellbreaker and Ironbeak Owl can disable those death rattles, but it's almost too late by the time that kicks in.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I do like Amnesiac's primary deck for the matchup. He's got a Mega Assembly, he's got all the bomb cards, and he has Archivist Elysiana. So his primary versus Eddie's primary, I think Amnesiac is favored because he has all the same value generation resources. He just has a little bit heavier minions, and he has the bombs. So he's going to be able to put on more pressure and match Eddie in fatigue with Archivist Elysiana.
So does he just throw away the Acolyte and the Shield block here? And the Warpath, obviously. And it might as well the Shield Slam. Why is that it?
I think there's some merit to keeping Acolyte, but it's not that high of a win rate card. But it does give you a little bit additional gas, and because you know that this game will probably go near fatigue, having that extra card draw is important. But keeps Acolyte of Pain, and because of that, his hand quite mediocre for the matchup. Oh, okay. Well, now it's slightly better.
Well, now it's amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. Look at that Town Crier right off the top.
Well, it fills out his curve.
Woo!
What a rush, dude.
What a rush.
Quite literally. It just picks up a rush minion.
What now?
And if he picks up the second Militia Commander right here, the double.
I must choose.
Shield block, body armor. Is he gonna play the Town Crier?
I almost think those are kind of inside jokes, because I don't know how many people have watched those videos.
Oh, he has the perfect. He's already on the perfect line here, dude. Yeah. Eddie does not have anything to do.
Nope. Not often much to do on turn 2 for Warrior. Usually you play one drop or your armor up. That's about it. All right, things are shading up a little bit. Does need some bomb cards though.
Yeah, I mean, he's already halfway there. If he picks up a Wrench Caliber, it's like that means Blastmaster Boom is online.
Coin Acolyte. Now there is an Ironbeak Owl in Eddie's deck. Does not have it currently. And this Acolyte will draw some cards.
Body armor. There's not a week that goes by, TJ, that I don't watch this video on a Monday morning. It's actually a ritual that Admirable talked to me about.
Do you want to let the viewers in on?
Yes, sorry. There's an amazing video there for people who are fans of the speedrunning community. There's a video specifically about GoldenEye back in the day, about this guy, his name is Ryan Lockwood. He speed runs and is able to achieve the unthinkable, which is taking 2 seconds off the world record of a level called Streets, for all the fans of the N64 GoldenEye. And at the time, taking 2 seconds off was a really big deal because you could always reduce by 1 second. But when you only have like a minute to do something, reducing something by 2 seconds as a world record is extremely impressive. And no one thought he could do it. So then he actually did it, and this was back when live streaming and all this stuff was not very well fleshed out. So he uploads this video with terrible mic quality, and also the speedrun is him just looking at the ground the entire time. But he's just popping off and yelling nonstop about how excited he is. And the passion that flows through this video is invigorating, TJ. It's so hard to watch this video and not feel motivated to frickin' go lift weights at the gym.
It will inspire you.
Yes.
It will inspire you.
Yes.
Don't watch it muted because it's a terrible experience.
Because it makes no sense.
But then every time Dan and I say, what a rush!
Yes,
You'll
we are
know.
referencing this video. And
You'll
it
know.
works so well with Warrior because they have next that rush. They gain body armor. And they watched the cinema too because they thought, oh my gosh, this might actually be the one. And it is with Dr. Boom Mad Genius and the Blast Master Boom. The bombs go off. And of course, you hit Legend. So, it just makes too much sense.
Yes, it does.
All right, well now kind of centering back on this game, Eddie was introduced to the situation. Does he play Omega Devastator for tempo as a 4-mana 4/5? Or does he equip this weapon and shut down the card draw? Because it's very clear that both these players aren't afraid to draw cards in this matchup, and it matters more for Amnesiac given that he wants to get to his aggression. You actually see a lot of Warriors, we're starting to tech in Battle Rage into their Warrior decks for Bomb Warrior. And you might be really confused because you're like, well, you know, this is not really like in the traditional game plan, right, of the Warrior, but it makes sense given that they want to draw to their win conditions much more often. They realize Blast Master Boom, Dr. Boom Mad Genius, Wrench Caliber, all these other really important cards. If you don't draw them, your deck often just does nothing. It plays a 3-mana 3/3 mech. It plays as, you know, Wrench Caliber, and then you just hope your opponent draws bombs. But Blast Master Boom is really what ties a lot of that stuff in. So players started actually just drawing so aggressively into their deck to have that play on 7. And that's why it's so crucial for them to have that card draw in the deck. So, you know, I like the approach that both players are taking it. Amnesiac, at the beginning of the season, didn't even know how to play this matchup, and it seems like he really understands the dynamic back and forth.
Yeah.
Which is play aggressive, play tempo-oriented, play this Militia Commander, and don't relent.
I think that this matchup specifically is a little easier than, say, a Bomb Warrior Mirror, because it is you already have a defined aggressor at the beginning of the match, right? It is the Bomb Warrior. And when that's the case, it makes decisions in the game much easier. Then Bomb Warrior versus Bomb Warrior, you don't know until a certain stage of the game who's the aggressor, right? So you have to figure out, am I behind on tempo? Is this a good tempo play?
What now?
And go from there.
Yes.
Dave, you're smiling to yourself.
Sorry.
What are you thinking about?
You know what I'm thinking about. You know what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Ryan Lockwood's 112, which the comment on that YouTube line, which again, we're only saying it because it's so funny and you're doing yourself a disservice not watching it. But the quote at the top upvoted comment on the comments was, I hope to love something one day as much as Ryan Lockwood loves his life.
Job's done.
Haven't you said pointing to your left yet, Dan?
I mean, I love that video as much as he loves. Dynamatic, Crown Crier, Eddie seizing back, momentum. It's going to be a back and forth positioning until Amnesia can get this Blast Master Boom, but he has a Wrench Caliber primed and ready to go. With that, he will have shuffled in a couple bombs into his opponent's deck. But if he's not planning on playing Blast Master Boom on 7, he should not play Wrench Caliber this turn. But I think it's
What now?
hard to pass up.
Yeah, and he wants to take out this Dynamatic, using Warpath just for 1 in order to take out Dynamatic, moving the mech.
I like it.
I think it is important because if he does plan on playing Blast Master Boom next turn, he wants the best board possible for that to happen. And if he just swings Wrench Caliber into the Town Crier and doesn't Warpath, He plays Blastmaster Boom into a guaranteed Dynamatic because he has no way to remove it. And there's a chance that Eddie could magnetize onto it. He doesn't have Snip Snap, but he does have Zilliax.
Right.
Or have another Dynamatic to try and trade into the actual Blastmaster Boom. So even though it's a very liberal use of Warpath, it's not a card that's great in the matchup. And
Yeah.
I like fighting for tempo.
People often remove Warpath as a card in the second and tertiary deck.
Yeah.
For the Warrior Mirrors. And he knows he's going to attack for this Town Crier. It's about if he wants tempo now. So does he play Omega Devastator or Militia Commander just on the board, anticipating a Blastmaster Boom? If he does, what does it look like? You know, if he plays, if his opponent plays Blastmaster Boom, he has Execute. Maybe that's a reason for him to set up Acolyte preemptively. Like no, because then Acolyte just dies to the Wrench Caliber. So it might be just a Militia Commander here. Yep. So it looks like Eddie's come to the same conclusions.
Just wants a little bit extra to fight back. Ooh.
Oh.
I wonder if you want to play Dr. Boom Mad Genius first.
Your Boombots get Rush.
Your Boombots get Rush, but you do give your opponent a bigger chance to draw one of the bombs or the weapon removal. The only weapon removal that Eddie has left is the second copy of Weapons Project.
Amnesiac only has one bomb in the deck, and
Yeah.
it's 1 out of 17. That seems unlikely for it to be drawn, but the
Yeah.
weapon removal is a possibility from Eddie.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd like the Dr. Boom Mad Genius first. It also gives you the chance to deviate.
Right.
And maybe you can wait till you have a little bit more bombs or a little bit more tempo on board and the Blastmaster Boom has more impact. So,
Yeah. Let's say Eddie goes for big tempo play this turn. You're like, huh, maybe I don't want to play Blastmaster Boom. I could do something else. It gives you that option and flexibility. Eddie, in the meantime, picks up his second Town Crier. However, it just picks up Zilliax, and that's not exactly what he needs in this position. In fact, Eddie probably just only needs one card, which is Dr. Boom Mad Genius. And drawing deeper into the deck does allow him to get to that point, so perhaps that is something he's considering right now. Given that he's also so close to Omega Devastator and Omega Assembly turns, that's probably in his mind blocking him from just feeling like he can just play it so liberally, because if he just waits 2 turns, he unlocks the entire reason you play this card.
yep.
I must choose.
So Eddie's thinking, well, if Amnesiac has Blastmaster Boom, what's the best board to set up afterwards? Again, if he plays Acolyte, he develops into the Wrench Caliber. Omega Assembly comes in for Amnesiac, so this can turn into a war of attrition as opposed to a war of tempo. Because Amnesiac has Dr. Boom Mad Genius, Eddie does not, and he has resources to go toe-to-toe. I mean, it could end up being a thing where instead of trying to rush his opponent down as quickly as possible, instead he just tries to trade resources until Eddie's too far behind.
Yeah. It is a possible game plan, especially since Eddie has also been sort of matching Amnesiac's card draw.
Yeah, and look, the Dynamatic pick up with the Delivery Drone. That's exactly what we're talking about, because now he can play that
That's a
and
little
pretty
awkward.
much clear everything, can he?
I
I think so, because it has Rush.
He can clear everything, yeah. He'd have to swing with the second charge of Wrench Caliber in order to clear everything.
Unless he
hits both Town
perfectly
Criers.
snaps.
Yeah. He's
Almost a legend.
almost.
Almost a legend. Trades onto the 1/1 to make sure that Eddie would have to invest his own life into it as well. Oh, sorry, so he can't keep that 1/1, so if he does use his own life with his weapon, he doesn't get to keep the extra minion.
Yep.
Nice little greed trade there. It's nice.
The min-max.
I mean, he knows that there's a strong likelihood Eddie can answer
What
this,
now?
but just in case the opponent can't, just makes it
Yep.
inconvenient. Last awkward turn for Eddie. Does need to actually dump hand space a little bit.
second weapons project here can be used.
Now?
You're maybe thinking, oh, well, it's just a one-charge wrench caliber, but it's almost always going to be a one-charge wrench caliber, because Amnesiac, with a weapons project, knowing that one is still left in the deck, he's probably not going to equip a wrench caliber without swinging. So if he wants to dump a card, the second weapons project here is perfectly reasonable.
Agreed. So Amnesiac loses that bomb, but we knew that he was going to take a deviation based off the fact that he wasn't rushing out Blastmaster Boom. Now he has a Harrison Jones opportunity as well to draw really deep into his deck. I wonder if in his mind it's a little bit too much. Because at that point, he's going to be 5 cards deeper.
Yeah, there's a bomb in the deck, so he's like 1 card behind right now, which is not that big of a deal. But you definitely don't. You want to draw aggressively to a point. But at this stage in the game, when you already have enough resources and you already have your big power cards, like Blastmaster Boom, Dr. Boom, Mad Genius, a few bomb cards, Omega Assemblies, that's when you want to slow down a little bit, because you don't want to get too far behind in fatigue, especially if you don't have tempo, which he doesn't right now. Eddie is still at almost 60 life, which means Amnesiac's not going to be able to aggress him down. It's probably going to come down to Archivist Elysiana.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Another shield slam. I don't think that's what he's looking for here. But he does have a convenient board clear. And again, the longer that he's able to collect value off the Dr. Boom Mad Genius before Eddie can, just gets him slowly further ahead of resources and maybe force Eddie to be in a very difficult spot. But Eddie has a lot of gas. Second Omega Devastator picked up. Omega Assembly can get together. A third Devastator.
Plus Mechanical Whelp and Clockwork Automaton. Two very good mechs, one mediocre mech with the Automaton.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot worse mechs out there than Clockwork Automaton. Definitely an average one.
Alarmabot.
Alarmabot.
Faithful
Faithful Lumi.
Skater Boy.
Skater Boy wouldn't be that bad with Mechanical Whelp, but yeah, there's a handful of mechs that just don't really do anything.
No. Skaterbot, especially after Dr. Boom Mad Genius is.
I must choose.
But it's a matter for Eddie of how do I space out these resources.
I think I like, in some capacity, taking it a little slower. The really sad thing about playing Mechanical Whelp is that you might be giving your opponent things to do. When your opponent has Rush, sticking a minion on the board feels impossible.
Yeah.
So yes, your opponent would have this like 2/2 that turns into 2/7, but that gets answered by like Omega Devastator or just a Shield Slam. You know, it's not terribly impressive. Blastmaster Boom. There are 2 bombs in the deck, so almost full.
Yeah, they do have Rush. He doesn't have another bomb card in hand, so that's where, and all of his other plays seem sort of weak. Ooh. Keeps the symmetry alive.
I like it. Classic Dr. Boom. I wonder if Amnesiac doesn't even want to attack with this weapon. Because one, he could use it for picking apart his opponent's board. Two, if Eddie does have things like Harrison Jones that equalizes the fatigue, because he is ahead.
Well, he's already played Harrison Jones.
Oh, you're right. I apologize.
Wait. Yeah. He's already played Harrison.
He's ready to play Harrison Jones.
Yeah.
It's the Harrison that Amnesiac's holding that hasn't been played.
Yeah. In fact, Eddie is completely out of weapon removal. He's played both weapons projects and the Harrison Jones.
Okay, well there you go.
This hand is just all mechs right now, it feels like. Double Mega Devastator still left, Mechanical Whelp, Clockwork Automaton, Ziliax. In the far left, I believe that's a Warpath hidden next to the Omega Devastator. Does have many ways to deal with this Blastmaster Boom, but for Eddie, it's about which one am I most willing to part ways with. Honestly, I wouldn't hate Warpath Execute. I think removing the 2 Boombots off the board is important to reduce the potential for Amnesiac to be able to Omega Assembly and to magnetize. This play seems like it's going towards Omega Devastator.
You can develop any other mech. Kind of like how we're mentioning, developing other mechs feel very risky in the face of Rush. I like the restraint here. Just, again, he needs to conserve his resources because he knows Amnesiac can beat him in the long-term game. His hero power is summoning 3 1/1s, and Eddie's just not doing anything. So if you think about it, he's like playing odd paladin level up against the regular warrior hero power. And it's just like that kind of pressure
This would be a
isn't
good
easily
time
dealt
for a
with.
master
Yep.
plan.
Amnesiac okay with drawing another card. But more importantly, perhaps Harrison Jones just provides himself as a 5/4 threat is good enough.
Yeah.
He still has his other wrench caliber in the deck, which might be good. Picks up Warpath, that's not going to be that useful here. And Amnesiac still has his Omega Assemblies too. This Boombot not really doing much here. His last 2 Boombots have been relatively low
Love that
impact.
fuse thing.
Yeah, but just forcing resources out of Eddie means that he may have bigger minions stick later on in the game.
Right.
Eddie still hasn't found Dodge Boom Magi yet.
Exactly.
Amnesiac's just naturally getting a resource lead just from that alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's using his hero power to clear off minions, whereas Eddie is having to use the actual cards. And even like small stuff like this, Amnesiac's kind of just presenting enough to where you have to remove it, but not enough to where if he removes it, you've lost all your tempo and you've lost that advantage that you've been working to gain. So it's for Eddie, do you just Warpath and armor up here? That seems like the most reasonable way to remove. Do you try and play your own minions to get the board going a little bit? Do you want to draw cards now that you see Amnesiac's willing to draw a few more cards?
What now?
Eddie has 2 additional cards with 2 bombs in deck. He's 2 cards ahead.
I'd be okay with drawing card.
Yeah.
The only thing is that he doesn't really get to choose that because he has Acolyte of Pain, and that's not really like a draw 1 kind of card based on his hand. If you play Acolyte, your opponent might force you to overdraw. So I don't think he's in that position, unfortunately, to go for a singular card draw. And now Amnesiac gets to seize tempo, however he sees fit. Can Delivery Drone. He can play Dynamatic and then Delivery Drone. Since Dynamatic doesn't have that many good targets to hit, generally speaking.
Yeah, he would have to throw away a card. He's looking for like Clockwork Goblin.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hey. Works out really nicely.
Somebody order a bomb.
Another bomb being shuffled in. Eddie, unhappy to see that.
Yeah, bomb shuffled in at this point are the most impactful, I think, in this matchup, just because as the bomb war in this matchup, you want to try and get your bombs to be sprinkled in throughout the game. Because if they're too in the bottom part of the deck, Eddie has the ability to play Archivist Elysiana to get rid of the bombs. And that, I think, is another reason why Amnesiac feels like he's free to draw a little bit more cards, is because he knows that he has the luxury of playing his Elysiana when he's out of cards. Whereas I don't think Eddie has that luxury. Because if he waits too long and he goes into fatigue, then Amnesiac can shuffle bombs in for guaranteed damage right before Elysiana.
Right.
And
Oh, man.
oftentimes he'll be playing Elysiana with a few cards left in deck to try and get rid of bombs. So 3 bombs in the deck currently.
Yep. 4th picked up as an option for the Clockwork Goblin. So then, on Amnesiac side, what's the best way to set up tempo? And I kind of wonder if he wants to utilize some other cards in his hand, like Shield Slam, because they've just been taking up space. And then maybe use an opportunity, have an opportunity to play Omega Assembly later on. So like this turn, he could say play Clockwork Goblin as the rushed minion, kill the 1/3, Shield Slam, and then also play the hero power. But seems like Amnesiac has no problems magnetizing here at this spot. I wasn't expecting this play, TJ.
No.
I always see Zilliax as a really, like, if you're not using it as a way to come back, you often give your opponent this situation where they can just rebound in late stage of the game. Oh, I see. So he's making Brawl a trickier card.
Huh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So he thinks Eddie's holding a bunch of weird cards because he's been passing a lot. Right? Eddie's kind of been playing 1 or 2 cards from the right side of his hand. What is he holding? Must be holding weird things like Brawl. So if I go wide on the board like the play I was talking about, he's giving value to Eddie's Brawl. And Amnesiac's already played Blastmaster Boom. So, you know, he knows that Brawl's likely, he's going to look for opportunities to get value with that Brawl. Not bad. Not a bad idea at all. It's something that's fairly clever. You know, I was thinking about Zilliax oftentimes as a comeback tool, but sometimes it's just good as a pressure tool too. And this forces 2 cards out of Eddie. Slowly but surely getting that resource advantage. Again, Eddie's been doing a good job, at least making sure that he doesn't get over-eager and pull the trigger on things like his Acolyte Pain to catch up in the resource count. That second Omega Assembly is not good, though.
No.
Spark Drill, Demolisher, Piloted Reaver.
Not good whatsoever. Oh, Wrench Caliber.
Yeah, this is I mean, Amnesiac has opportunities to go heavy into the bomb plan, but again, doesn't want to go too crazy because they have Luciana.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, the Dr. Boom at Genius value is too much, I think.
Yeah.
And Eddie still has yet to draw the big bombs. In fact, he has yet to draw any bomb.
No, still 4 in the deck, which total just keeps on rising. 11 cards left in deck, which means Eddie has 7 warrior cards and 4 bombs. Oh man, this is Eddie's just trying to play one thing to develop onto the board, and he's slowly kind of gaining life, but like he's not doing anything for his game plan, whereas Amnesiac is setting up for a lot of big stuff. And like I said, Amnesiac has the luxury of being able to wait until his deck is completely empty to play Elysiana. So he felt free to draw as many cards as he pretty much wanted in the early game, as long as his hand size permitted.
Is that something Amnesiac's thinking about too? If Eddie's forced to play Elysiana at any point, that's going to take Eddie's entire turn. How does Amnesiac punish that? So if he sets up the strongest board he can while you're preparing for that swing, you know, what's his turn going to look like? And right now, his hand is a little bit light on the proactive threats. All right, the Pilot Reaper comes out, which is likely to pull, what, the Spark Engine?
It will pull the Spark Engine. Whew! Snip, snap!
That is the juice. Does he have to play it right now, though?
No. Especially knowing that there's an Iron Beak Owl in the deck from Eddie. That's kind of a rough play to make.
Mega Devastator plus Wrench Caliber seem perfectly fine in this spot, too.
Yeah. It does make him kind of all in on bombs early on, but like we said, forcing Eddie to play Elysiana earlier, especially with Amnesiac building up that resource advantage, means that he will also have a fatigue advantage. So I can even just rush in.
Oh, and it works out really nicely for the Kaboom. Back over to Eddie. Still no bomb, still no Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Not even Elysiana picked up. Eddie has all the stall tools, but his late game prowess.
Yep.
Completely stunted at this point.
Yeah, now his hand is, he's running out of rope next. He's running out of those proactive plays to make. An Acolyte of Pain. Still 4 bombs in the deck. Still Elysiana. Still Dr. Boom Mad Genius. A very bizarre game for Eddie.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing too many good lines here. I see using Acolyte and Brawl as an option to get out in the later stages, but for now, it seems like he might be stuck in a situation where he has to use one of the cards that he doesn't want to use suboptimally. If he plays Mechanical Whelp, that pretty much gets challenged by the minions on board. If he plays Zilliax, he's throwing away one of his comeback tools. It gets bombs.
Hey, speak to me.
Oh, this doesn't feel good at all. He's shield slamming the Clockwork Goblin.
This is a sad warrior play. Unfortunately, not much choice for Eddie.
Yeah, and Amnesiac has all the choices in the world. He has the ability to take it slow. He could also just speed things up by going like really aggressive with the Snip Snap.
This would be a good time for a master
He
plan.
could go something like Snip Snap once onto the Omega Devastator, and then twice
On a separate one as a
on a
second
separate
target?
one. So he'd have like a 4/6 and a 6/4. He'd be able to push 6 damage. The Acolyte Pain will kind of be stranded.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
I don't
You're
mind
not
that.
too vulnerable to Ironbeak Owl. Because Ironbeak Owl and the Omega Devastator wouldn't bring it down to 1 health, because it would keep that health. It would still be at the 4 health after everything was said and done. So I like kind of splitting the little buddies here.
I think I like that too. Splits everything entirely.
He's seen both Warpaths from Eddie, which means that this play, which would otherwise be vulnerable to Warpath, is not.
Right, and now with the 2 draw, the fatigue count is equalized. So Amnesiac very purposely giving Eddie 2 cards. That might look like
Wow.
a situation where, why does Amnesiac want Eddie to draw cards? Well, it turns out also, by the way, 4 bombs out of 6 remain in the deck, and Eddie just picked up Elysiana with no bombs. It's 20 damage he can mitigate right here.
20 he could mitigate, but then he takes 10 on board. So while you're mitigating 20 damage, you're taking 10 on board, and you don't even have Dr. Boom Mad Genius.
You're right.
So
You could shield slam to abate some of that.
you could shield slam, but you're still taking 6 in that case.
Just have Elysiana discover 2 booms.
Okay, sure. Like, yeah, this seems like a 2C Elysiana because you're getting rid of every bomb.
It's 20 damage that you gain.
Yeah. He has 2 actual warrior cards left in his deck. One of those is Dr. Boom Mad Genius.
Uses one of the brawls. But there's still a sizable amount of power here. Amnesiac knows 4 out of 6 cards are bombs. It's likely that Eddie also does not have Dr. Boom Mad Genius, so he should be able to narrow down 5 of the 6 cards in Eddie's deck.
I think, honestly, you can go in with Wrench Caliber
This would
here.
be a good time
Because one
for
of
a
2 things
master
happens.
plan.
Either Eddie plays Archivist Elysiana with no Dr. Boom Mad Genius. He plays Dr. Boom and you get guaranteed bomb damage. Or he just draws all the bombs anyway and it doesn't matter what he plays. But he's going to hold off and play patiently.
Oh boy. Eddie draws the bomb.
And Dr. Boom Mad Genius is the last card in Eddie's deck. 4 cards
Yes.
remaining. 3 are bombs. And 1 is Dr. Boom Mad Genius. That is brutal. BROOTIL. Brutal.
I had no arguments from me.
I don't see a way that he wins here.
You should have a spell off versus Language Hacker. I think you do really well.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
Silence and Brawl. Who wins, an army of mechs or one hootie boy? Well, I guess the mech barely survived. The owl put in a good fight.
Out of cards.
And the awkward part here for Eddie would be as if he drew every single bomb
Before Dr. Boom.
and then drew Dr. Boom Mad Genius.
Yeah. And I think Amnesiac senses that Wrench Caliber seems like an opportunity.
Yeah, he can also just equip it to
Okay,
get the
then.
man out of the way and then just not swing.
It's true.
Bombs in after Elysiana.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
But from Amnesiac's perspective, a little bit of confusion, also a little bit of happiness. Not seeing Elysiana or Dr. Boom Mad Genius.
Right. Gonna ditch his last card. Amnesiac getting some pretty decent stuff. Korkron Elite. Body War Bears, also a high impact.
Wolf Rider.
Wolf Rider's
Gimme,
face
gimme, gimme.
damage. Brawl is also not bad, to be honest. Does he have dragons? I don't think so. Witchwood Grizzly seems like a decent pick.
He picked Militia Commander, Korkron Elite, Amani Warbear, Wolf Rider, and Vicious Scrap Hound.
Oh,
Uh-oh, is he really going to draw all the bombs? He
Three bombs.
Oh my gosh! That is,
every
that's
bomb.
the worst.
That was literally the worst combination.
I don't think I've seen a Warrior player get unluckier than that string of 4 turns in a long time.
That pretty much was the ideal outcome for Amnesiac.
I can't think of a way that could have gone.
Right. Now, but good thing that Eddie gained all that life, right?
But now,
About to go bye-bye.
yeah.
Wrench Caliber does 16 damage. Korkron adds another 4, so that's 20.
16 damage over 2 turns, which will be negated slightly by Elysiana, but because Korkron Elite is attacking twice, and he's putting extra damage on the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really negated because you draw that bomb immediately for this turn, and then Eddie doesn't really have the luxury of playing Elysiana in this spot. Or does he?
He has to. I think he has to. I mean, maybe you can go Ziliak's Blast Shield. But Ziliax is so
Yeah,
good
you're
with these
probably
mechs
right.
that you have.
You're probably right.
He could go Dynamatic Ziliax with the forgo Blast Shield, and that's kind of a waste. Anything that he could discover from Elysiana that could change this?
That could turn this game around?
Yeah.
Well, he needs something that dramatically... Like, it has to be like Ziliak's Discovered as like a starter base. So then he can come back into the fatigue count.
How about a Ravenholt Assassin?
I think Execute might be better.
How about a Lorewalker Cho?
Yeah. It forces your opponent to not play spells? I don't know. I feel like that's optimistic. All right, Ganil and Road Guard's pretty solid. Beryllium Nullifier is very good. Wrench Caliber. Or probably Berserker. Honestly, those are all candidates too.
Execute, Lorewalker Cho, Shield Block, Warpath, Wrench Caliber. So we went with the removal heavy option.
Right, and then picked up Lorewalker Cho when he picks up 3 spells.
Yep.
A little interesting dynamic there. Oh man. Oh, that's big stuff. The Boom Reaver could pull out, you know, another charger.
Yeah, Korkron Elite.
What is my purpose?
And also Amnesiac's just loading up maximum board pressure.
Shall not save.
Eddie does have the delivery drone. So that's another way for him to slowly get back into this game. But it's still a far cry. Okay, Warpath. That pick ends up looking really good right now. That's a security rover. Those are tools to stall. And Eddie is technically ahead in the fatigue count, but fatigue count only really matters if your life totals are relatively even. If you're super far behind, like 50 life to 15, fatigue, being 2 ahead in fatigue really doesn't matter.
Not whatsoever.
Unless it goes to like the 8 to 9 damage range of fatigue, which I don't think this game will go. I mean, Boom Reaver here just seems good. And you even picked up Scrap Hound, which is one of your weakest minions. Pulls out a Body Warbear.
Woo. Funny thing is that blocks it from being able to be removed by Mechanical Whelp. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Jade Serpent.
What are you gonna do with that? He can't do anything. He's gonna use it to gain light. No, he's just dead.
He's dead.
I give up.
Yep.
He's dead. That's it. Game 1 over to Amnesiac.
What a brutal game 1 for Eddie. It took a long time to resolve,
Oh yeah.
but the end there was just, I mean, you can't help but feel for him a little bit. Amnesiac, though, did like the way that he played.
I liked it.
Set himself up to be in a good position regardless
Yeah.
of the outcome there at the end. Even had both the Mega Assemblies at the end. We saw one played that got the Boom Reaver, but was able to draw cards aggressively, trying to force him to play Elysiana early. And even though he didn't because he couldn't, because he still had
Right.
Mad Genius left. The idea was still there for Amnesiac, and the pan out just obviously went in his favor. But
Yeah,
the
but I mean, Eddie
execution
could have also
there.
drew bombs before that situation.
Sure,
too.
excellent.
It looks extra flashy when it's like, well, he didn't draw a bomb this entire game, and the last 2 turns he drew like all of them consecutively. That stuff happens, and then Eddie also made that conscious choice of taking that damage, but he wanted the Dr. Boom, which ended up not really mattering anyways.
No.
So that ends up with our game number 1 victory to Amnesiac, and a win here means that he gains ground on the division leader. So we're going to take a break, and we come back. Game number 2 in this Warrior Mirror.
My name is Eddie Liu, formerly Sehun628. Now it's just Eddie playing. My last year I had a pretty successful year, especially since I only played this game for 2 years. I won DreamHack Atlanta. It's only a tour stop, but it meant a lot to me, especially since I was grinding really, really hard for a win. When I first knew that, like I received the email that I got into Grandmaster, I was really excited. I checked my email at like 10:30, and I was like hyped. I was like, oh my god, is this actually real? I think I'm a very consistent player. I think the X factor for myself is that I hate playing aggro decks, I would say. I'm a very control/anti-control player. I rather outgrind my opponent in resources. I constantly judge myself, oh, is this right? Is what I'm doing correct? And it means a lot. It means a lot to me that if other people are agreeing what I do and what I think. At this point, I just want to make Worlds. I had a pretty good record in Tour Stop. I think I was at least top 10, if not top 5. I think I was lucky. I think this group is the easier group, and I think I have a good chance getting out of groups.
I'm Will Barton. I'm also Amnesiac, the Young Savage. I was Amnesia SC for like 3 years. But since I didn't have a microphone when I started playing Hearthstone, everyone was just like, oh, it's Amnesiac. And I was like, no, but there was no mic. So I was just like, yes, okay. So I think my experience for Grandmasters was different from a lot of people because in my mind, there was just never any way I wasn't gonna be in the league. I've been top 5 in points in North America for like 4 years now or something, 3 or 4 years. I have a big presence online. I think people get excited when I come onto streams and watch them. Like, I'm somebody people can kind of get behind. So in my mind, when they announced Grandmasters, I was like, all right, let's do it. In terms of Hearthstone, I still really think that I have what it takes to be one of, if not the best players in the world. And I really intend to put in more work than I did last year and be more disciplined. I think I got a lot better at using my time over the past year, and I want to apply that skill and show people just how good I can be.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters. Coming up, we have game number 2 from Amnesiac and Eddie. Eddie, of course, tries to see if he can transition his game plan to actually do something. But he's going to the Mechathun Warrior, and it's up to Amnesiac to stop him. He's got the Undertaker, the Geppetto Joybuzz, the Mechathun, and obviously Geppetto Joybuzz hitting any of those small minions are great. Or sorry, those big minions turning the small minions are great. But even the worst case scenario, you play Mechathun out. When it dies, you have the Undertaker inherit its death rattle, and then Inner Rage and devastate it to finish the game.
Yeah, it's I like this version of the deck list a lot. I think there's one more version that's gives you like double redundancy. The Undertaker does give you redundancy if you have to play Mechathun early. The Whirlwind gives you redundancy even more so in the later stages of the game with the Undertaker, because then like Inner Rage can be pulled out and you still have access to be able to Whirlwind devastate with the Undertaker. So that's like the ultimate redundancy for Unseen Saboteur and for Hecklebot. This is not a combo-oriented meta, so there's not much combo disruption. So this is kind of the ideal package for just 5 cards in a nutshell to activate Mechathun. And it's I do like it a lot. Amnesiac is staying on his primary deck, so his game plan is going to be the same. Archivist Elysiana kind of useless in this matchup because you don't often need that or rely on that. You're dead before that happens. I have seen some situations where you play Archivist Elysiana really early on in the game when you know things are going poorly and you know that your opponent's going to get Mechathun off to try and get a miracle, like try and get Hecklebots from Archivist Elysiana or Unseen Saboteurs from Archivist Elysiana. But that's kind of rare. It's a good start for Amnesiac, though. French Caliber plus Blastmaster Boom to pretty much definite keeps in this matchup.
Yeah, I think the bombs are important to stop your opponent from being able to freely draw cards. The name of the game for Eddie is draw a ton of them.
All of them, in fact.
Yes, just
Every single one. Just draw.
every card possible and dump it.
And this is one of the weaknesses of Mechathun Warrior, is that you have 5 cards in your deck that just don't really do much.
I mean, they all have flexibility, though. Like, Geppetto Joybuzz can make all that stuff super cheap, so then you can just, like, hold on to Inner Rage as your last card.
Sure, yeah.
And so you do have opportunity to dump it. Amnesiac's the one who has less flexibility, and this Omega Assembly, I think he's looking for Clockwork Goblin as his primary search option. Pilot Reaper really doesn't do too much here. And Skaterbot isn't exactly what he's looking for. But Boom Reaver, even though it's useful, it might be too slow.
I don't know, that one's tough.
He's going to most likely play Wrench Caliber on 4 anyways. But Pilot Reaper gives him an option not to play the Wrench Caliber on 4.
Yeah, but it's vulnerable to the turn 4 plays that Eddie would make, like Militia Commander.
Right, now that he's played Town Crier, it seems like a likely scenario.
Yeah.
Ooh, shield block. That's a nice pickup here for Amnesiac. And he picks up Militia Commander, so now all of a sudden Amnesiac's curve and options on turn 4
Are endless.
they're a lot better than they were before.
Yes.
Say that much. Does Amnesiac play the Wrench Caliber here? If he understands that Eddie went for the second option, it's still the same. 2 weapons projects and a Harrison Jones exist, even if none of them are right now in the hand.
Job's done.
And the only way to take this out effectively is the Militia Commander, given that Eddie does not have Wrench Caliber in his deck to get that easy snipe on the 4-3.
Defend the gates!
Mechathun Warrior is also interesting for a couple other reasons, because you spend the whole game striving for this one thing, and that thing is to draw all of your cards and then play Mechathun and activate it. But there is some... a lot of players when they play Mechathune Warrior, at least for the first couple of times, just kind of all in on the idea of I need to draw all my cards. But it's also about hand management. It's also about finding places to dump difficult to use cards. Like Brawl, for instance. A lot of times we see in the very late stage of the game of Mechathune Warrior, they're stuck with Brawls in their hand that they can't use because they're out of minions.
Yeah. Or Warpath.
Or Warpath. Now, Warpath you can just dump as a card, but Brawl you just can't use unless there's 2 or more minions on the board. So it's about finding the right places to play cards. So I like seeing early Brawls from Mechathune Warriors. I like seeing just cards played onto the board. Don't hold cards because, oh, you think something may happen that you need the card for.
Yeah.
Just play it. So that way, once you do get to the stage where you're drawing a lot of cards, you have more options and you get to that Mechathune quicker. Get to the ability to play the Mechathune quicker, not draw it.
The second Brawl is cut from Eddie's deck list, which makes a lot of sense given what you described.
Yeah.
However, I do find myself, whenever I do lose with Mechathune Warrior, I wish I had a second Brawl in that scenario.
Yeah.
The gates.
I feel like I beat myself playing Mechathune Warrior more times than I get beat playing Mechathune Warrior.
Yeah, it's fair. Amnesiac swing with the weapon, knows there's 3 cards in Eddie's deck that he could draw, pick it up. Says it's less likely for him to draw the bomb and more likely for him to draw a weapon removal. So I'm going to go for this. Acolyte Pain plus Warpath seems good to me.
Yep.
Wonder if he even wants to get that second card by changing the coin. I think so. I don't think that extra mana crystal that he can get from coining out something is going to matter, given that if he draws Dr. Boot Maginians, he plays that anyways.
Yeah. The problem with Eddie's draw is that he is now operating with 4 less cards. Because Geppetto didn't hit his Undertaker or his Mechathune, he doesn't have that option any longer. So Undertaker, a Mechathune I guess can be played as a 10-10.
Yeah, no, Mechathune definitely will most likely be played as... definitely will most likely.
Definitely will most likely.
I'm
pretty sure.
Try not to say absolutes, given that things in Hearthstone often are very fluid based off the game state. But he is 100% might play Mechathune, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, this Brawl is 100% likely to have a okay chance to remove the Blastmaster Boom off the board.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
That is a definite probability.
Yeah, it's a definite uncertainty. I like this Brawl, though. I don't think you need that extra card nearly as badly as you want to get that extra chance of winning the Brawl.
But that is the last Brawl.
Oof.
The only Brawl.
You are correct. It is the last Brawl. Amnesiac picks up Dynamatic. He's not really pressuring really that much right now. Probably wants to play the Saturnian Rover as well. The pressure plan, fumbling a little bit, and that's why Eddie was okay. That Brawl pickup was very timely.
Ooh.
Weapons Project, which you might think is normally a good thing, but it actually gives Amnesiac the Harrison Jones.
Which is exactly what he would want.
Right. So perhaps if you're Eddie, you don't play that.
Light the fuses!
All right, now we're cooking again. You've already seen Warpath. You've already seen Brawl. Maybe this is the time for you to go wide again on the board.
Yeah. Eddie will 100%, and this is a definite, take the bomb damage this game. He has to. There's no way around it. There's nothing that you can do. He will take bomb damage.
Unless he gets Weaponized Pinata into Elysiana.
In which case,
Defend the gates.
the entire function of his deck is thrown out the window.
Yeah. But
In which case, he's further in fatigue, now can't play Mechathune, and Amnesiac has Elysiana. So I'd like to play for Amnesiac, just play aggressively as possible. He's seen 2 pieces of key removal.
bomb.
Ooh, is that a Warpath? It is a
That is
Warpath.
a Warpath. He keeps drawing exactly what he needs, but he is taking damage still.
Oh,
4
4.
damage.
Armor total for Amnesiac matters very little. Eddie's not going to be rushing down. Really not going to be dealing much damage to the face at all.
It kind of does matter for the shield slam on a mecha.
True. But there's a lot of other cards. Now that
This
one's
is tough. Do you play Harrison and Spellbreaker? You are still vulnerable to a series of cards. Now that your opponent's on 10 mana, things like Omega Devastator are online, even though your opponent's already played one. And Dynamatics are very good against you. One of the reasons why card draw is fairly important. This exact scenario. Maybe.
What now?
There are 2 bombs left in the deck, and if you can stick a little bit more damage.
Well, let's just use the fact that we have Caster Vision. If he does play both these cards, what ends up happening? When he plays Dynamatic and Devastate, and he's very sad.
Maybe not Devastate. I don't think you can part ways with Devastate.
Okay. I mean, he does have Shield Slam, but you might be right in the sense that he doesn't have the convenience of utilizing both of those cards with the Undertaker and Megathune drawn. But there are some really fun ways that you can try to piece together removal. Amnesiac prioritizing the tempo, though. Oh, and with that draw.
That's a good pickup.
Yeah, that's a guaranteed clear. Or is it?
It's not a guaranteed clear, but
It's a likely clear.
it's a likely clear. Because if he picks up Ziliax, he only clears one.
What now?
Right.
I think there is
one-
there's one Militia Commander left, so if he picks up Militia Commander,
You're correct.
then it's both.
Under the assumption that he draws the Militia Commander very
Wait, no,
guaranteed.
It's not both, because if he draws Militia Commander, then Dynamatic can't clear off. He
Well,
can
you
Weapons Project Dynamatic.
Well, you trade it into the 5/5, and then you dynamite.
Ah, yeah, because they have Town Crier,
Right.
which would be 3+2. But this clears as well. With Harrison Jones gone, he can feel free to do that and fit in the Town Crier. Now it feels like Eddie has a firm lead. Ooh.
Yeah, Amnesiac's best hope at this point is to draw his Dr. Boom Mad Genius. It feels like Bomb Warrior without the Augmented Elic is often just not getting enough damage because they're getting 2 boom bots.
Yeah.
And Amnesiac had reasonable boom bots. The minimum they did was 2, right? It was like 2, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
I think was that much.
Yep.
Very reasonable. Oh man.
You want to pick cheap mechs to make sure that you can play them on time.
Yeah, I mean, this might not even get down to the fact that it's Mechathune Warrior, although this is a nice pickup. Sure.
Okay.
Does have to be somewhat mindful and not too liberal with his resources, because he's clear that he's not going to rush down his opponent now. So if he plays the Vicious Scrap Hound, he doesn't even have rush on it. Okay, Amnesiac's not even just going to play anything here.
Oh, okay. So Amnesiac may think that his win condition now is fatigue. And you may think, but TJ, how can he fatigue if he's playing Mechathune? Eddie has no Brawl and no Warpaths left. His ability to kill off his own minions is limited. So if Amnesiac can find a way to force Eddie to have a minion that sticks on board, then he'll lose. Because he'll never be able to activate Mechathune.
Right. We've seen the situation where they have to zap their own minion
Yeah.
to try and remove it.
Yeah. Now, the Ziliax on the Eternium Rover is smart because it'll offset a lot of fatigue, and Amnesiac really wants to remove this. But keep in mind that because of the way Mechathune works, Eddie has to play every single minion. So if Amnesiac finds a point where he has enough of a life total, has enough of a lead in fatigue, and can take some damage from the minions on board, he can just keep stalling until he's unable to get to a point where he can clear off his own minions and try and hope that Eddie never picks up like 2 zaps in a row.
I don't know if he could afford to do that, though. Oh. The brawl, hoping that his opponent's minion survives?
At this point, I don't think it's one of these minions that he wants to stick.
Okay. Clearing up the weapon space in case he picks up his second wrench caliber. I mean, I see a little bit of the game plan here from Amnesiac. I still think it's optimistic. Pero Joy Buzz picks up a couple of minions from the deck, gets him closer. 1 mana return him over. Oh, well. Huh. I mean, still gets the draws out of your deck.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Blast Shield being pulled up here. Amnesiac getting further away from his goal. Wonder if Amnesiac's going to stick with that line and just take that damage. 6/6 is hard to ignore here.
Yeah, it's got to be like an Eternium Rover or a Dinomatic, you know? And even then, like, because they're smaller minions, they're more likely to die to Zap. If you leave an Eternium Rover on board, 1 Zap will kill that off. But Eddie has a long way to go before he plays all this stuff.
Right. I mean, he's still going this route to threaten. It's a 9/10, and his opponent doesn't have the Omega Devastator. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
He does. Now, do you think if you're Eddie, you trade in that 1/1 as well? That's like a really small detail, right? Like, does he trade in that extra 1/1 to try and remove some of his minions on the board? And now it's like Amnesiac's turn to not have the Dr. Boom Mad Genius this game. Seven power on the board compared to the 7 power of the previous turn. Similar spot. He is aware that if his opponent plays Mechathune, he has to answer a 10/10. Like, it's just the fact that Mechathune's Death Rattle won't kick into effect, but it also might just be a threat in its own.
Huh.
What now?
I'm trying to like think through like how much damage Amnesiac can take if he just lets these things stick on the board.
Well, if he lets these 1/1 survive, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
It does add up, though.
It does add up.
Oh, okay. The Elysiana gives Amnesiac some semblance of hope, because maybe he can pick up a Disruption card. And a Disruption card can be really impactful to stop the combo.
I think he wants to pick up Mad Genius or at least a Wrench Caliber, because Wrench Caliber is like a guaranteed 16 damage.
Okay, that's
That
fair.
happens.
It is fair. It's just that Elysiana has, there's a handful of disruption tools. We're talking about Unseen Saboteur. You're talking about ways you can maybe put cards in your opponent's hand, right? We're talking about like weird stuff like Grifta and stuff. I don't know. There's definitely some weird things out there. Clockwork Goblin.
But if he plays anything, he just dies, right? Like, Eddie only has 2 cards left in his deck. One of them's a bomb, so he's got 2 cards left in his deck. It's a shield block, easy to use, and
Clockwork Goblin, Zilliax, and Shield Slam your own minion.
wait. Execute. Oh no, he took out the execute. Good. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what the last card is. Shield Slam Weapon Project in hand. So one of the cards is a shield block, and one is Harrison Jones. Yeah. Shield block, Harrison Jones. Last two cards, and 2 bombs. Now Eddie can trade in all of his minions.
Yeah. Yeah, I do kind of wonder about that, but I think Amnesiac recognizes that if he does go for this very cute Shield Slam your own minion play, he has Archivist Elysiana and just accepts whatever his opponent does.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Harrison Jones. He never kills it. He takes 5 damage a turn. That's his win condition.
Right. Which was the same if he let all the 1/1s and 2/1s survive.
Yes. Oh, nope, Shield Sam can kill it. Yep.
Yep, kill his own minion.
That's GG.
Not next turn.
So now he has to Elysiana
Right, now he has to Elysiana.
This story deserves
and pick up Unseen Saboteur.
Not sure if Dragon Roar can pick him up anything in particular. It's a big threat. Gruul's,
You have to pick Shield Block because your only out is to get a Combo Disruptor.
yeah. And I don't think that's it.
Or you can try and pick something that gives your opponent something.
Right. There's like is the Serenite Taskmaster still in the game?
No, I believe that was in the Lich King, the Frozen Throne.
I'm almost out of
The
cards.
three man, was it 3-mana 3/4 that gives both players a 2/2, but then just kind of trades into itself.
No, there's a card that is a 1-mana 2/3 that's Death Rattle summons a taunt for your opponent. But that doesn't.
Oh no, I thought. Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the 4-mana give yourself a 5/5 on Death Rattle, give your opponent a 5/5.
Right.
That was called Serenite something also, wasn't it? No, you're right. The Serenite Taskmaster is still in the game. That's the one man.
Yeah.
That is still in the
Because then you could shield slam it, and then your opponent can't actually kill it.
Yes, that is still in the game. Sorry, I mixed it up with a different card that was in Frozen Throne.
All right, done to take a Inner Rage Devastate combo. Gets pulled off. And Amnesiac not finding a Dr. Boom, but more importantly, not able to put enough pressure.
Yeah.
The Mechathon Warrior ends up coming out ahead, and this is part of the advantage against those Bomb Warriors that have been cutting some of the Elix in favor of immediate tempo through things like Snip Snap. And that is a tied series, 1 game apiece. Eddie, with 1 more victory, goes up to 9-2 and almost guarantees him spot, I believe, in the playoffs.
Yeah. 9 wins, especially for Division A, would be an actual lock, just because of how many players are floating at the bottom of the standings. But yeah, looks like the Mechathon Warrior paying off. Amnesiac, not the best pan out, but I wouldn't say it was as bad as Eddie's in Game 1.
Probably not, no.
He did have, some bomb cards, was able to get Blastmaster Boom online early, just never found Mad Genius. It wasn't able to put on enough pressure or gain enough tempo to force Eddie out of it. And there was some parts in the game where he was on the verge of a breakthrough, right? The turn to Eddie drew Warpath to be able to clear up the wide board. So there was signs of light from Amnesiac. This is not a guaranteed win kind of matchup for Eddie, even though this deck is slightly more favored than his first deck. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Game 3.
Yeah, so for the decks, I believe they are staying the same. There really shouldn't be any change here. Amnesiac, with his second and tertiary deck, can't really do anything, but a quick review for people who are tuning in halfway through. Undertaker, Geppetto Joybuzz, Mechathon, as well as Devastate and Inner Rage as the 2 cards. And I think people like this package because it's less committal than the Mechathon Boomship, Whirlwind, Malagos combinations, because I think you need 6 cards for that.
Yeah.
You need Mechathon, you need Malagos, you need the Boomship, you need 2 Inner Rages and a Whirlwind.
Yeah.
So you would have to put Whirlwind in your main deck, and then some people just don't want that in their slots.
Yeah.
Eddie has Dr. Boom at Genius up his hand. It's pretty good. Throws away Shield Block. Gets the 1-drops.
Oh, 1-drops all across the board.
Yeah, and I think that ends up being good for Eddie.
Whew!
Oh, man. All right, that ends up being very good for Eddie.
That is the stone cold warrior nuts right there, Dan.
That's exactly what they're looking for. Because their turn 2 is usually weird, but now you don't have to worry about their turn 2 because you get to play 2/4 stats and draw the other 2 rush minions.
Oh, yeah. Something satisfying about that.
Yep. And I think Amnesiac, I mean, is sort of caught with his pants down here. Doesn't really have anything to do. except play his own Town Crier, and now he's actually behind on the board, and his deck is not well prepared for this kind of start. Okay, well, this is just ridiculous. Come on.
Oh my goodness. All right, Amnesiac needs to draw Town Crier into a Turning Rover. And
Well, he can't draw exactly that right now.
I think that summons Exodia. A very
All
small
5
version
mechs of the puzzle.
This is the ultimate curve.
It definitely looks very good for
Payback for game 1 from Eddie.
Definitely looks very good. I don't think it's 100% guaranteed, but it feels overwhelmingly in favor of Eddie right now, based off that opening. Because the Warrior doesn't have to worry about the early game snowballing and control now, because even if Amnesiac had Clockwork Goblin, it's answered. And he's able, in fact, Eddie's ahead on board, and he's gonna be able to push tempo.
Dan, I have a suggestion to spice up Grandmasters.
Okay.
Now, bear with me for a few moments while we have a lull in this matchup while I explain this to you. So I think we should try and find a way to utilize Twitch chat as a Hearthstone game jigger.
I do all the time.
No, but in a very specific instance. And I think that me and you, as commentators of this beautiful game, should have the ability to hit a button. And this button initiates a vote, a yay or nay vote.
Okay.
That could end the game for a player. When we think one player is so far ahead, we press the button.
Okay.
And Twitch chat votes to say whether or not the game should end. The fate of the game gets in their hands. What do you think of this idea?
I think they're just gonna hit that button and vote yes every game within like the first 3 turns, because whenever I watch,
we are the ones who initiate the button.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're not going to press this button until we think that the game is over. That we think that this game could be over. But who are we to judge, Dan?
Yeah.
We're just commentators.
Yeah.
I think Twitch chat should be
I think they would like
real
that.
judges.
I think they would like that option. I also had another suggestion.
Okay.
For the Twitch Rivals event that happened a few days ago. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, though, just given that I
Well, you
work
can't
on that
titillate us now, Dan.
But the idea is to have chat influence the way they punish streamers for taking too long to draft their decks.
So they get to vote.
They get to vote and punish streamers accordingly.
Now, do they get to choose the options that they vote on?
No.
You choose.
Yes.
So we are the puppet masters.
Yeah, we're the choosers. We are the deciders.
We're the game masters, and you guys are the districts.
And I am dressed appropriately to host every part of this.
Defend the gates.
Not many people know this, but Dan's middle name is actually Effie.
Yeah, Effie DePoor. I don't know how to pronounce Shock's last name.
Oh. I thought that was some obscure reference that I wasn't aware of.
No, there's so we did Around the Fern.
Yep.
And there's I believe Medic does Between Two Iverns.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Shocks on, and he called her like something really funny, like Elfie Departed or something like that. As in, it was like mispronouncing her name the entire time. Either way, it was very humorous, and at this point, I enjoyed the content. Hope you guys liked that dog interview. It was great.
And don't worry, there's more coming.
There's more coming. The best lines were edited out of that, TJ. And I was pretty sad.
They were.
Anyways,
Maybe we'll have a Around the Fern with Dan.
Oh yes, and myself.
Yeah.
Raw, unedited director's cut. All right, now we can talk about the game a little bit, because the entire early game was set up for this Dr. Boom Mad Genius. We did not address the fact that Amnesiac has picked up his own Dr. Boom Mad Genius, as we got sidetracked with our own random musings. Ooh, delivery drone being swapped away from, which is not what Amnesiac wants.
And Blast Shield is absolutely not what Amnesiac wants, because armor just doesn't matter.
Yes.
Matters for Shield Slam, but as long as you have 10 armor, you're good to go.
That's correct. Eddie can take down this Eternian Rover, and just thinking about if he should.
Probably. All right, never mind. I guess he knew that he was likely to pick up a damage hero power with Zap, Microbots, or Kaboom.
Light the fuses!
Trying to set up as much board pressure as possible. Dynamatic gets the job done, but he's working from 50. Gets the delivery drone right back.
Defend the gates.
And now it's a race to the finish. A very slow race, but one nonetheless. Given that Eddie's already has 50 health and now just went down to 46. Eddie picks up the Acolyte of Pain, which actually is a very big pickup that he has now that he has Dynamatic as well. Don't think it's necessarily important to have the Shield Slam. I think your opponent only has 3 cards and he's not generating a lot of threats. The only way he can get truly punished is if, well, your opponent has a massive mate that comes out. Omega Devastator.
The Blastmaster Boom pickup, he was probably looking for Clockwork Goblin, but Omega Devastator will do.
Safeguard's also a viable option in this spot, but I think he wants to Wrench Caliber and Blastmaster Boom, right?
Yeah, probably.
So Omega Devastator means that it's good for the follow-up.
This
Although
would be a good
Safeguard,
time for
so
a
Safeguard,
master
what it ends
plan.
up doing is it protects your Blastmaster Boom even better. So you could Safeguard Town Crier, then Wrench Caliber and Blastmaster Boom, but that means your Blastmaster Boom's an extra turn delayed.
Yeah.
Remember, there's no bombs and shuffled into Eddie's deck. Not to mention that there is a Harrison Jones.
This would be a good
So-
time for a master plan.
And 2 weapons.
Yeah. I like the Safeguard setup. Because I don't think the boom bots are going to get there. I think the 7/7 has to live. Your opponent already used a shield slam. Oh, this Dynamatic, though.
Oh, yeah.
It is UC.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's also the Zap cannon, which allows it to take down the Safeguard.
Everything picked up, and only 1 combo piece drawn at this point, so Eddie could pick up Geppetto Joypus still, which could pick him up exactly Mechadude and the Undertaker. A lot of powerful stuff still left to be done, and Amnesiac's left to try and find tempo in some way or another.
He gets the Blast Shield again. So his hero powers have been Blast Shield, Delivery Drone, Blast Shield, Delivery Drone, Blast Shield. Is he gonna get another Delivery Drone, TJ?
Well, my conspiracy theory would like to hold true.
What?
I'm telling you, man, Nalgidon
What?
pointed this out to me, and since he did, I can't unsee it. And look at Eddie. He's getting Kaboom. He's gotten Kaboom every other hero power.
Well, he had Blast Shield, and then
Delivery
Delivery
Drone,
Drone,
and
then
then
Blast Shield.
Kaboom.
Then, what is happening?
If he gets Blast Shield after this, I'm done.
If Amnesia gets Blast Shield after this?
Yeah.
Speak to me.
I don't even know.
I don't want to cast it.
Because it'll be, I can't even calculate right now the fly.
Whew, it's Microbots. I can keep casting.
Yeah, then, but Delivery Drone will be a centerpiece.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Delivery Drone is the one it'll keep going back to, whereas Eddie Kaboom is the one that he keeps going back to.
Geppetto Joypus is yet to pick up Mechathune or the Undertaker.
Acolyte. Undertaker.
Undertaker's nice. Being at 1 mana means that he can dump his cards a little bit more.
Yep.
In fact, there's a really fun scenario where one time I had Mechathune and the for 1 and the Undertaker, and I just threw both of them out. you can
There
just
you go.
kill it out, yeah. Just kill them instantly.
Both of them out at the same time, just Warpath, because
Yeah.
Warpath, the Echo card doesn't count
Wait,
for.
I didn't Warpath, but it was basically the equivalent of it. Just like play all your really expensive.
And Whirlwind or whatever.
I don't know because I haven't checked the Warpath, but I just like, you know, destroyed my own minions.
I think Frozen told us that Warpath doesn't count.
Okay.
the Echo copy of Warpath doesn't count.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
So I trust in Frozen when it comes to Mechathune.
Yeah, but there's plenty of ways that you can kill it. I mean, most likely you'll have like a armor card, right? Or you can just use your hero power. Or trade in the Mechathune first and then play Done to take it and then kill it. Because Mechathune being a 1/1 is really good because it means it just dies to anything.
Pain, speak to me.
So for us, this feels almost like a formality. I think Amnesiac, unlikely to take it here. He keeps getting delivery drone, by the way. Just want to point that out.
And Eddie keeps going back to Kaboom. Every other hero power.
What is this? Is pretty ridiculous.
So our conspiracy theory that Naoki Don had brought up to us a few weeks back to Frodid and I is that Dr. Boom, while it says it's a random hero power, that it always seems as though Dr. Boom will pick one hero power and always rotate back to that hero power. So for Initiate this game, he's gotten Delivery Drone, then something else, then Delivery Drone, then something else, then Delivery Drone. Whereas Eddie has gotten Kaboom, something else, Kaboom, something else, Kaboom, something else.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that didn't happen exactly.
Nearly exact.
But it's very close to it. But that's just probability, and humans try to find patterns, and that's just not how it works.
No, Dan, that's how it works. I am a pattern finder.
Wow, is that his 4th Omega Devastator that he's played this
That's a
game?
lot.
I don't even understand.
I think there's a pattern there, Dan.
Yeah. Omega Devastator is a really good card.
I feel like Amnesiac has clicked the left side of his board a few too many times, which means that his discovers are more weighted towards class cards. That's how it works.
Math checks out. Eddie has the Omega Devastator right back. Has shield block to draw a little bit deeper in. He just has to throw everything out. In fact, he might want to brawl early. So maybe he Omega Devastators and brawls.
Yeah.
What's the cards remaining in his deck? He has Mechathune.
Okay, then.
Devastate.
He has a Devastate.
And there's one last card, which I believe is...
Execute.
No, he took out Execute.
Took out Execute.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Second Weapons Project.
You are correct.
So Mechathune, Devastate, Second Weapons Project, I believe, are our last 3.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Yep. Gonna use his weapon project right here. 2 turns away, and Amnesiac still does not have a way to close it out. And this kind of feeling is what, you know, a lot of people tend to describe as Mechathune, the feeling of helplessness. It's very accurate given the theme of Cthulhu. Amnesiac plays the Boom Reaper hoping to pull out something big. He's got a lot of small stuff in. Stiff Snap's okay. Mechathune comes in the hand. Eddie can play that this turn and trade. Amnesiac's looking for something to pull him out of the situation.
Well, that is something, but it's not a lot.
Well, he can have the Mechathune not die this turn. But it's likely that Eddie will be able to kill it. And he's going to go for this Blastmaster Boom. 2 bombs shuffled in. Sorry, 1 bomb shuffled in. Forgot that he drew it.
I'm almost out of cards.
Last card is a bomb.
Yep, there is room for Eddie to misplay. So Amnesiac holds out for this situation where Eddie does a catastrophic misplay because I think he is 100% guaranteed to win this game. Just has to pretty much dump his cards. So Warpath, Omega Devastator, Double Weapons Project.
And Shield Slam your own Omega Devastator. Oh, you can just trade it in with Dr. Boom. The Omega Devastator, the Clockwork Goblin, then trade in the Omega Devastator into the Dr. Boom.
Yes.
Then Shield Slam it to kill it, and then smooth sailing.
Yep, Weapons Project up to 45.
Wait, Dan. He needs to find something to use Devastate on.
Oh. Oh.
Amnesiac.
No. He can just trade in all the minions with his
I'm
microbots,
almost
right?
out of cards.
No. That
I'm out of cards.
that could have been a big mistake by Eddie. If Amnesiac was paying attention to what the Geppetto card was,
Right.
he would have known that it was Undertake. He would never have been able to play Devastate. If Amnesiac had literally just done nothing for the rest of the game,
He would have won.
he would have won. Eddie would not have been able to win.
Oh, wow.
Amnesiac played that way too fast.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Devastate only does damage to a damaged minion.
And Eddie's shaking his head because he knows that he left himself vulnerable in that position.
Oh boy.
Now, it wouldn't have been a guaranteed win because Eddie could have gotten a minion from a delivery drone.
Right.
And then zapped it and then devastated it.
I would have liked to see the conclusion of that if Amnesiac.
But that would have been a
recognized
lot of
that.
fatigue, and Amnesiac could have picked up bomb cards. He played that last turn way too fast. There was a reasonable chance for him to win.
Dude, we were even talking about
Players can play with deck tracker, and even without deck tracker there, you should know that you haven't seen the second Geppetto card. That Undertaker has to be the last card in hand because Mechathun was played. It's a 1/1. He can't devastate it. You just don't play anything for the rest of the game there. And Amnesiac is 7 cards ahead in fatigue with a Wrench Caliber still left. That looked like a foregone conclusion, but there was a chance for Amnesiac to win.
Yeah, and it's not like this 0.001% chance.
No, that
it's
was
a reasonable chance that it could have turned his way.
Yeah, because the only way there, if he does nothing, is if Eddie picks up Delivery Drone, gets a minion, and can damage it with Zap to devastate it. But then that would have to happen over multiple turns, which Amnesiac could just remove the minion, so it couldn't be damaged. Because he wouldn't be able to damage it himself the same turn. He would have to save the minion, then wait for Zap, then play it, then devastate it. It would have to be a minion that would cost 7 unless he could. It's kind of crazy. Like, that would have had to happen over multiple turns. Fatigue could be adding up. Bombs could be shuffled in.
Right.
Woo.
And that would have been about 7 or 8 turns of fatigue if that ends up being the case. Let's go ahead and check in with Eddie after that conclusion of the series. So, Eddie, looked like that last couple turns there. What was going through your head, man? Looked like you almost threw at the very end.
It's the special that I don't know why when I get like super nervous because I have like barely any practice with the deck, and I was figuring out turns throughout like watching VODs and like I had like a little bit of research, but I never had to play the matchup, and I completely forgot I had to throw away the 1-mana spell. So I threw. That's just, yeah, that's bad.
Gotcha. Well, everything panned out okay. You said you weren't able to get a lot of practice in. Is just a lot been going on with things on your end?
Yeah, I went back to school this year, so I'm trying to graduate. So it took a lot of my time, and I don't have much practice that I used to do like last year, where I was playing like full time and like I almost know every matchup and how the flow goes. But this is not really the case, and it showed.
Gotcha. Well, it's okay. A win's a win. The result is everything, basically, when it comes to competition like this. How are you doing the work-life balance? How much time are you able to dedicate to practicing for your matches every week?
I like, for example, like last week with OTK Paladin, I knew I was really new with the deck. Like after the kind of new buff on Christology, so I spent like 100 games. That's quite a lot, I think. Like the last 3 days before submitting it, and like after I knew submission, I play against myself for like 4 to 5 hours for each matchup. So I know like almost every in and out. Of course, I'll miss something, but the overall planning of the matchup, I need to know very clear. And this one, I had the idea, but I just forgot that it becomes a 1-1, which is, yeah, it happens.
It happens. It happens. We've made that mistake many times too. All right, man. So 9 wins. TJ, you said it guarantees a playoff spot here for Division A?
I'm
like very close to it.
Very close. Yeah, because
actually it does.
It does, yeah. Because the next person can only get. There's only 2 other players that can get 4, and Eddie, I think you have the tiebreaker over both PNC and Strive Crow. I'm not sure, but I think it guarantees you at least 3rd.
Yeah. Any comments on that? The fact that you're in prime position and an overwhelming favorite to qualify for playoffs here.
I want first.
Wants
I want
first.
First. Wow.
All right.
Doesn't want
Wait,
his top
first in
3.
regular season or first overall?
Maybe both. That would be
Okay.
great. But Frozen is doing really good right now, so it's gonna be hard to. I have like a 5-game win streak. I think he as well. So it's gonna be see who dropped the game first.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're playing the second this Sunday, so that's gonna be exciting because I have the first tiebreaker on him, like the first time we played. But I think if he wins this time, I think he's ahead in tiebreaker. So I think I have to win. But I just have to I have to just practice and see how it goes.
All right. All right. Any other questions here for Eddie?
No. Well, actually, Monsanto said you baited him into playing Control Warrior this week. Is that true?
That was false. Did he win? I'm happy for
He
that.
did win.
He did win, yes. He won against Mage.
Okay, we're playing. Me, Rase, and Monsanto were like in a call at like 2 a.m. and we're like all like prepping for Bomb Warrior, and suddenly I'm like, what if we just play Control Warrior? I mean, it's better against Mage, and it's just overall not that bad of a deck, and they kind of sold, and yeah, we brought it, and right now we're 2-0. The next match is Rase, which is Control Warrior again. Let's see how it goes.
All right. I mean, that wasn't really a bait. It just sounded like they discussed an idea, and they're like, yeah, it's good. And then they decided to all do it.
I'm just repeating what Monsanto said.
It's
That's
true.
all I'm doing.
It's true. It's funny. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Eddie. Congrats on the victory and the first place in division currently. We'll find out what ends up happening on Sunday.
All right, take care.
All right. And with that, 2 matches in, TJ, but that was our only Warrior Mirror for today.
Yeah, only 2 on the week. You know, not that slow. We have a decent amount of Warriors, 7 Warriors this week, but we're seeing a lot of Warrior versus other thing, which I've come to love those kinds of matchups. So even the Warriors we have, some control, some bomb, it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting week of Grandmasters, even though we're seeing a lot of the same classes. A lot of the secondary, tertiary, primary decks are differing among each individual class.
All right, with that, let's go ahead and get ready for our 3rd match, which is a Rogue versus Warrior. We have justsaiyan from Team Radiance going up against Rase, who is looking to see if his Team Genji Control Warrior strategy could go for a 3-0 today. We'll be right back.